Alright. That's going. Time for some more Phoenix Wright. We're going to finish the episode 5. Make sure thumbnail, proper category. Okay. Save. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's no Half-Life? No Half-Life. Not today, at least. Half-Life is coming sometime again soon. I gotta play some other games first. You know? Sure that volume's off, yes. When I play Half-Life? Some other time. I gotta buy the episodes first. So. As soon as I buy the episodes, maybe if they go on sale, then I'll get them and I'll binge them. I already played through all of number 1 and all of number 2. That's a lot. Eh? Don't you think? I don't know that that exists. Okay. And final thing. Okay. Just making sure everything's okay. Beautiful. Alright. Can I go HD? Yep. Okay. Oh yeah? You have a new girlfriend? That's good. Congratulations. Okay. Episode 5, final day, the trial. No, I can't react to a video. I'm playing Phoenix Wright. Is defendant lobby alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth. No. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 77777 ID number that is. The bubbly. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. Yes. 5 minutes, Wright and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here to hear came here to hear what you have to say. Okay. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. Okay. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. District Courtroom number 9. Court is now in session for the trial of Ms. Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution is ready. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Udgy. Been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Let's see what he has to say. Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. I didn't ask her to be on the court. Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. Okay, Lana, what you got to say? What's all this about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. That's a simple request? I mean, I guess. I confess to all charges against me. On February 21 of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman. What is she doing? In the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! Objection! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. While the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation, her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. I mean, it's true, she can just do whatever she wants. There's nothing I can do about that. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
You can't just object. Yeah, you're not allowed to do this, Edgeworth. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty, beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Well, that's not exactly true. She's confessed, so... Yeah. Yeah, you can't. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut? I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes? Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. Okay. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Hold it! Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. I don't know if we can do this. This is a crazy situation. I think the judge in a regular courtroom would go, this is ridiculous. The court has valuable time. We can't just be doing all this random shit. Just let's get on with it. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Shh. All right. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Okay. Well, okay then. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. I don't know if that's allowed. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. We'll get Chief Gant. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. But I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised his knife and he stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. He has no evidence. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. This is all ridiculous. This is all way out of line. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. She was second in command under the Deputy Chief of Police Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Oh, the judge remembers. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. Alright. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man came running in and took me hostage. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. Neil Marshall rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were two people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assumed that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark, and then the lights went out. It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out? Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Stop. Poor Emma. Thank you, Emma. You don't have to go into that. Now then, please tell us. This scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us? Maybe I should have done more. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. That must have been a real shock. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clear. Tell us, what were you doing in that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark and I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Okay. I need to get Emma to tell me as much as she can. Okay, well I guess I gotta go back and do here and go to press more. Hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw. Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. Oh yeah. I drew a picture of the scene once, but it seems to have been lost. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died. Yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken? But I did draw it, I swear. I'm not just imagining it. This picture that Emma drew, that reminds me. I guess I should check the evidence again. Well, anyway, let's continue. The scene that imprinted an image in your mind? Can you please describe it to us? The man. Okay, let's check this. What does it say? Oh, there's the picture. So maybe we present this to her. Present the picture. Objection! Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence. Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold, this is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over, turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. It's a picture of him stabbing. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. And how would he know that? These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? What's matter is not even a case today. But Miss Scott, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor. Are you all right, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing. What the heck is that? That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Evidence list restored and updated in the court record. Alright. Very well. Witness, will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir. Your Honor. Yeah. She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. What could it be? Alright, Emma, tell us the truth. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Quote, the flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows. After that I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Nice. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Okay. Sure. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Skye. 2 or 3 days later, the memory still should have been fresh. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? Oh, okay. That's why. So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was kind of knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. At the perfect picturesque moment. Poor Emma, I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Okay. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. That's fine. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Alright. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? You brought her on the stand, man. I'm just finding out everything. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? Of course not, no. You got my salary. Our salary is basically zero because we take on no clients. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives. So I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well. That's strange. He claims this is the exact scene that was imprinted in her mind. And yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. Oh? There is? Let me look at the evidence. Can I check? What the heck is... I don't understand. Stabbed in the back. Oh, okay. Well, that's it. Present...
Objection!
Objection! I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it, just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. Agreed. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? I mean, is it this or like just I get like he was stabbed in the back? I don't know. It's because the drawing stinks. Mr. Wright, how could you? The act of making an innocent crush bore the death penalty. What the fuck? But no, I'll get it. He was stabbed in the back. All right, let's take a little. Oh, we're good. Take that! I couldn't. I didn't mean to do that. We're gonna save. And here, I guess I'll take a look at the autopsy report. Stabbed in the back, died from a punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was in the wound. A single stab wound piercing the heart and lung. Died from blood loss. Doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. I couldn't look at it when I was looking at the picture. I mean, I guess I'll present this. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. What? It's just a bad picture. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. Objection! Okay. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! But what's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand? Objection! Objections just flying around. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right. But what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is that the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. So that means it's true. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Another one! Not so fast, Mr. Wright. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ugh. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. Okay, sure. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. Alright. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. Oh, really? What are the chances that there being two broken knives? Could there have been one? I mean, I guess if the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observation error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Edward's knife? The blue badger panel? Is that possible? Broken off the tip, stabbed in. Maybe. The screwdriver? I don't see anything else possible. I don't know. Take that! If anything's broken here, it's you. Huh? I'm sure this must all be very amusing to you, Mr. Wright. Okay. Give me another chance. The real murder. It can't be Edgeworth's knife. I mean, if they're saying that it's not this. The badger? Take that! I don't know. Oh, yeah, not the badger. No, I'm gonna lose already? Jeez. It doesn't give me an option to save here, but it's fine. We're not far away. I mean, do I just say that it's the switchblade knife? I don't see what else it could be. The unstable jar? No, because she saw a knife being held with a handle. Take that! They just say it's me. What the fuck? I don't understand how anything could be. That is all. Alright, Lana Sky gets what she deserved. What she wanted. That's all she wanted, was to be proven guilty, so. Okay, I don't understand this question. Alright, well, at least we know. That it's this. We can go through. Objection! Objection! There's objections flying around. Objection! Objection! There were so many objections. in that small area. Okay, let's analyze clearly. Let's save. And we went over this shit. Oh, I thought we were further along. I'm not lying. Must have been another broken knife. Maybe it's Emma's mistaken. Is there another one? Let's try Emma's mistaken and see. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, I believe the witness must be mistaken. I knew it. You really don't believe me. Uh-oh. There's no way Emma can be mistaken. Okay. No, so we were right before. So that's just a red herring choice. We don't even get another choice. Please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. But... what? They're just saying it's Edgeworth's knife. The unstable jar. Couldn't have been the unstable jar. Oh, I know what it is. It's that thing. It's this. How do I present? Do I present the picture? Or do I present this? It was the piece of this thing. Search better. What? I have the right answer. Oh my gosh. It's the fucking piece. Both of those answers should be correct. The answer lies in the past, 2 years in the past. Right here in this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. Ah! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding? That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Is it not like stone that you just, or like marble or something, or metal that you can't pull off? Or is it removable? Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. Okay. Yeah. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. Objection! But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! Figured something out. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on? Classic Phoenix. It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? I knew it! This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Okay. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. This should be interesting. Alright, Emma. What's your recollection? When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and I rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. A what? This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. Chief of Detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop, please! Don't pursue this any further. Lana? What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? She's hiding something. Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Oof! We should be protecting our client. We're kind of just saying fuck Lana. When I saw that man raise his knife. When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark? Yes, at least I think it was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then I panicked and rushed toward both of them. Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seemed convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we've just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help that other person. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. What do you mean you think? It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's all kind of a blur. Miss Skye was also killed before she was a witness. Miss Skye was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. Okay. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Just then, there was a flash of lightning. That's when I saw the blue badger. Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him here. But it was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I've seen him before, somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh brother, just when you thought you had, that thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Okay. His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. It The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh? And I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then please, by all means, please tell us what the shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when that lightning flashed? Who is this blue badger really? I just might know. Blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright. In this very room. Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Guess who? Please show us this mysterious blue badger look-alike. Is it him? Damon Gant? Is it this? Doesn't really look like it. What? Pardon? There's something that looks like the blue badger. Something that looks like this. With that picture. It's a crown. Is it the trophy? I mean, I see in the picture there's the vase back there. Is it his hat? It's not the trophy. It's not Gant. Doesn't look like Gant. What the heck? Is it this? Doesn't really look like it, but I don't see anything else. That looks like 3 fucking... Take that! Fuck it. How does that look like the blue badger? It was in fact this. But that's... or what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? Got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Okay. Oh. How do I... Oh, I gotta do this. Is it just that? That sure doesn't look like it. What? This is the most ridiculous thing. It doesn't look like it whatsoever. It doesn't look like it at all. Take that! Oh, jeez. This isn't right. I've got to make it look more like the badger. Allow me to remind the defense its case hinges on the witness's drawing. If Mr. Wright can't match the shape to the witness drew, we cannot accept his claim. What? The correct angle to look at. I'm fucking lost. Oh, what? It doesn't look anything like it. like this? I'm going insane. I hate this music. I don't understand. How does this look anything like it? These guys are fucking insane. Is it this? It doesn't look like it at all. I'm losing my fucking mind. Make the shadow of the jar look like the shadow. But I can't see the shadow. So like this, maybe? Something like... This doesn't look like it at all. I am lost. What the fuck? Is that close? Maybe like this? Fuck it. Oh. Ah! Maybe like it's close to what I had. So like this. But then like this. Oh, there it is, baby. There it is. We got it. That better be it. That's close enough. How does that? That looked exactly like it. Except for like this? No. I did this shit. Is it gonna tell me when I'm right? Does that work? Try that. What? Are you fucking kidding me? This game is fucking ridiculous sometimes. Become one with the art. I'm doing my best. It's not working. I have never been good at art. Okay. That's pretty good. That seems beautiful, right there. Maybe like that. Right there. Right there. That's... If this isn't right... Oh, fucking... Finally. Well, is this a miracle or what? Basically. No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. Sure. No. It can't be. That was ridiculous. I hate that music so much. I hate it so much. Order. The defense has proven its claim. Okay, that's all it took. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on that day. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question still remains. What's your point? It's a great question. What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar? That doesn't change anything. I disagree. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed? Very well then. Please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The location? Because of this picture at the award ceremony. The location. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. A very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. That's the same thing. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body? From Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have had to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked into the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah, the suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes, there is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Woo. faints. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. Objection! What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try and pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. You can't just turn your back to the fucking person asking questions. That's not allowed. You gotta look them. You gotta look straight. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. It's cool though, I agree. Touché, Miss Skye. Of course. That leaves us with only one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? Turn your back dramatically. It's so funny. I mean, the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. I think the judge would immediately look at you and go, "What the fuck are you doing? Turn around." That would be it. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. You thought that the court is expressing contempt for you. So take that punishment. I mean, it kind of works. Kind of works. That's how it is. You take the punishment because they don't like you. I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is in the evidence. It must be. It was Goodman. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek, the truth. No matter how painful it may be. We'd love to think that the courtroom is so noble, but it is not. Please show us the piece of evidence that conveys the message from the deceased. I may lose all my health here. Doesn't say item lost, but... The video, files... Sentence was death. That is a fucking wicked sword on that piece of armor. It bears Emma Sky's prints. You can see it on the leather handcloth. The print belongs to Emma. Huh. I don't know. Evidence left behind. Was removed at Gant's request. That conveys a message from the deceased. SL9 just says Goodman, and we've already used it, so it's likely not that. Evidence from past case of Edgeworth's brought back to his office by Gant's request. Oh, what the fuck is it doing in my possession then? Half-written document dated 2/21. Can only be submitted to the chief of police. I get it. Tagged evidence from the SL9 incident. Extremely thin rubber glove. That's nothing. Final. Is this a message on it? Is that a message enough? Let's see what the blood prints. Dark red stains, blood trace from the incident 2 years ago. Only the fragments found in Chief Gant's office still has lines remaining on it. So that's my number one thought, is the jar. A message left from the deceased, which is Neil Marshall. It must be this. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Was he going to speak the killer's name? That thing could, I'm sure it would. Okay. A message was left here on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice. For some reason, the blood on some of the fragment was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave a message behind. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. Okay. No! Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. I've got to connect those dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances. His murderer's name. I mean, it's gonna be Gant, right? Or Emma. Oh, I see it. I see the vision. Oh, I don't need to connect that one. So what, we're just pinning the fucking murder on Emma? What is that gonna do? It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Oh no. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. No! Seaworthy, can't say I didn't warn you. I knew it was gonna be Kent. Chief Kent, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. No, because of freaking you, man. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But he didn't know. Edward didn't know. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. Oh? I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. I agree. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. I mean, I understand, yeah. You can't just put somebody to death. They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! Yeah, you gotta have due process. That's the whole point. That's why the death penalty is ridiculous. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. To be continued. Oof. Pretty heavy. Damn. This fucking case, this episode is wild. It has taken a lot of twists and turns. Okay, I'm going to go to the washroom and I'll be right back for the trial ladder. Don't go anywhere. Give the stream a like and subscribe if you're new. Oh, gotta Alright. Okay. Get everything set up and let's go for trial ladder. Final day. Let's do it. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Alright. You always are, Gumshoe. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you. If there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. Okay, we're good. We're good. A message. She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. There's only 2 rules in that book. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is Chief Prosecutor's sentence. And that's where you're wrong, Detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she's unwittingly caused a man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. And it's Mr. Gant. What? And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people, and it's time to bring it to an end. Oi, 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 oi. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where prosecution calls a fourth a witness, but, cough. This isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses. I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone's been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement. Not in Canada, it's not. Defense calls their own witnesses, and so does the prosecution. And then the prosecution cross-examines the defense's witness, and the defense cross-examines the prosecution's witnesses. So, not actually unusual, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls the real murderer. Take that! Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. What does he have to do with anything? As a defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he's still in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name's Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of the police. Now then, Chief Gant, your court requires to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered the prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some unaccounted for. Like what? Like the role you played in all this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Okay. What are you threatening us already? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Alright. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor, unconscious. Okay. And when Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. Okay. Just coincidentally. Better hit him pretty hard, fast. Okay, is that a hint? Neil and I were questioning him that day. Maybe I should just press everything. As I recall, the ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. Okay. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Drake and made him run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. Okay, that's Dark. What's this power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went through it into his heart, though. This guy is ridiculous. Found Lana. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Alright. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk? That's right. I think you said earlier, it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor? Yes. Anyway. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. I think not. But the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office. That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record. Worthy, always the smooth talker. Okay. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Oh, we're gonna do it. Let's check it. Shown to the approval with the police department, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Sure. Half the list was found in Gant's desk. Hi Hummer Flappa. I like the name. Check the, this isn't gonna tell us much, no. Okay, we gotta link the forgery. It's gotta be the fucking safe. Because why the fuck are you leaving these things in the safe? Right? I mean, it must. Apparently she had already arranged it. I had nothing to do with this forgery. Okay, present the fucking... this.
Objection!
You really had nothing to do with the forgery. Then how do you explain this? What's that? What's that on it? A handprint? Chief Gant, your explanation, please. I don't know. You tell me, son. Huh? My dear Righto, don't you know? Second rule of evidence law. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Tell me how this rag relevant to this trial. It appears the defense was not prepared. Oh? Too early. Well, okay. I'll do it this just once, but only because you asked, Udgy. Thank you. I assure you the defense is terribly sorry. What? What? Nothing to do with the forgery, so it's not that? I mean, this has already been presented, so how about this? You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's a blue badger. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier, oh, that would have been an option too, was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admitted then that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know? Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. Oh. What? Drops. If his salary drops any further, he'll be paying for work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, in their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Alright, buddy. Sure. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they are worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. I don't know. Mr. Wright, yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. Oh, should I have? You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Okay. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. Today is, well, you know. Alright, Uji. In return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys, telepathic? In return, what? They're gonna meet at a place? Seems sus. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I'd appreciate it if you stopped making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped... Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have the proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? What else? I'm talking about when Righto's fingerprints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, this would prove his investigation was illegal. I don't have any rules on me. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did replace those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. They were found after darks, convicted, and they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Objection! No, it couldn't. It was written on. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come on now, Righto. Think about it. Shh. Yes, there is. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me in any way. Really, Chief Gant, at the very least there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh, resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is it true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Be more careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. For Lana. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. Whoa. There, it's out in the open now. Aji, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Well, let me press that. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I truly care about is yours truly, that girl. Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Point out the accomplice. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. Very well then, who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Oh... probably Lana Skye. Yeah. Take that! Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh, this judge, man. This fucking judge is running on my last nerves here. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive, to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I have done such a thing? Lana, she's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than a mere conjecture. Unless, that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Or which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? Yeah, that's a fucking threat. What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? I love when they explode with a what? This judge is struggling with this courtroom today. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible. Oh yeah, like crazier things haven't happened in the world. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's decided. He's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then, let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Just give a little save here, just in case we... Show us his evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Okay, so my first thought. Thought number one. 7-7. Oh fuck, I didn't mean to present it. I just meant to look at it. Alright, let's see. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your card number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you. That's not true. If evidence needs to be struck because it was received or gotten in an ill-gotten manner, then the evidence is thrown out and nobody has to respond to it again. So I guess we'll see. About the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be in with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. That's not true. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. Because this trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. That's not true. But sure, we'll go with it. If Chief Gant met with the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. This bitch. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. Never has this ever happened where the defense counsel and the prosecutor are teaming up on not even the defendant in the case. He's just a witness. Imagine you are called to be a witness to a crime in court, and then everybody just turns it on you. I'd be fucking pissed. But like, what the fuck is this? Where are my rights? I need to be told why I'm being arrested. Then I need to get my my right to a lawyer. Then I need my right to silence. How about that one? That's three rights off the top of my head that have been violated here. But we're just going with it. And before, right to a fair trial. I'm not even on trial here today. So what the fuck is this? Crazy. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're gonna say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet, you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to the Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! What was that look? Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time, I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Blue Badger panel? Must be is a screwdriver? Is it the screwdriver? No, it has to be the blue badger. Blue badger. Take that! Well, I see. Maybe I'll use this later to move your dead body, Mr. Wright. Huh? And I'll help you dispose of it. What? Oh. Let's take a little save here. Okay, so it wasn't the badger. Maybe that piece of evidence? What, the screwdriver? Like, I don't understand. To move the body, he used this. Well, he used her. Was it Officer Meekins? Was it a screwdriver? Take that! This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? What does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is the screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I don't know. I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. You tricked him. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbing, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office, but you did. Because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean I. The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. This doesn't... It still gets our client guilty. What's going on here? There's no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusation. Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please, say something. I believe. Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special.
Objection!
But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief, all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually involved. There are certain risks to be considered.
Objection!
So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, you think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get over with it. Get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Mr. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Guy dispose of his body. I gotta... Can't let him squirm out. Gotta keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor, I do have such evidence. Then please hurry and present it. Just remember, it better prove Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's actually beyond reasonable doubt. Come on, Judge. I mean, it's the unstable jar, right? Is it the knife? So he gave the body to Edgeworth. Edgeworth drove it, then Lana Skye plunged the knife into the body. So it's not this knife. Is it the blue badger panel? Dancing in the evidence room at the time of the murder at the PD. Death due to loss of blood. One knife wound, died within an hour and a half of 4:30. Wound was caused by a 4.5-inch knife. A single stab wound was found. Taking my angel star after the crime was committed. White enamel shoe bears traces of blood. Is it this knife?
Take that!
This is gonna be my first guess. So, what exactly is this evidence? It's proof. As to whether or not it's enough to demonstrate the chief's guilt, I'll let you be the judge. But I am the judge. Oh, right. Well, what do you think, Your Honor? What I think? Okay, well. Save. Just in case. Okay. Present evidence. Evidence for something, but what? Half of the list was found in Gant's desk, because it doesn't... Okay, so this piece of cloth, maybe. but also the final fragment found in Chief Gant's safe. That just means that he probably forged it. We already presented this screwdriver, so it's not that. Edgeworth's knife, I don't think, has anything to do with it. Maybe it's something to do in the evidence room. So the only Goodman could open the locker. And if Gant went in with him.
Take that!
Okay, so that's not enough. So nope, not that. Present the evidence. Okay. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Can't be that. That's Neil's. It's the piece of cloth? Could be. Uh-oh. So not it. I don't know if I have it. Don't know if I have it. Do I have any proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Sky dispose of his body? Maybe I don't have proof. Maybe I don't. It doesn't seem like I do. So I'm gonna just say, no, Your Honor. I don't have enough. COG. In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, righto? It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, OG, I'll leave the rest to you. Is that what I was supposed to do? I guess it'll take me back if I was. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. What? Oh. Lady Luck, maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. Yeah. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Who could it be? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? Of course it's her. Lana Sky. Has to be. The defendant, Ms. Lana Sky? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well, the court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on. Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. Oh? I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. Well, that's not okay. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Sure. Of course you'd never support such an outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet. Yeah, piss off, man. See ya. See you later. This court is now in recess. Alright. Oh. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. This is not okay. That chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he's always gets the upper hand? It's not fair, he has the right to refuse to testify. It's really not fair. That's why it's almost a thing that it's not a thing. Remember what the judge said. But Chief, it is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks, what did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? There's Emma. Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait here? No, going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Yeah. It's time. Okay. Save my progress. And then we move on. Okay. Time to prosecute Lana Sky. Will the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, please take the stand? Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know that all I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. Is she just gonna fess up everything? And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. True? Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Let's see. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. That's a lie. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana... If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? I mean, wait, how did she know what we're thinking? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Okay. Worked alongside Gant for years. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years? Everyone's so young in high positions in this game. Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. Okay. Damon Gant was a respectful detective. Respectable. That's why. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't understand Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Anyway, a testimony you cannot present in court is useless as idle gossip. Would you quit turning around? Can't do that. Face me. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. Thank you. And I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to have ruined her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana. So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago? When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken Prosecutor Award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. What? The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean, Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark. Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. Alright, all just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. Okay. Tell me about that. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound, and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of the others. But why did you do that? Come on now, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out. Very well, let's add this to the witness testimonies. The reason Miss Sky fabricated the knife? I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof needed. According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right? Yes, and leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body. So you buried inside the victim's stab wound? Yes, because I hated Dark for what he did. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted, nothing to do with Emma. So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it, period. Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence? She's lying. She did it, so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There is nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying. Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it alone. I've got to get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Maybe I'll ask the other thing. I'll ask the other one. Why'd you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it, by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Guy moved the body? Pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. Pieces of the jar, you mean? Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was already... Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If it looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. But that's a lie. Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. But he wrote on... What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there's more to it than that. There must be a contradiction here somewhere. Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. That's a lie. That's a lie. Present the word Emma.
Objection!
Miss Guy, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered. If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on the jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. Obviously. Come on. She's so shocked. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Order. Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody messages. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it Seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. Explain. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have any time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were so large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. I think Emma did, though, because we saw the cloth with Emma's fingerprints on it. Blood traces on the jar. So the jar was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier. It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case. Shut the fuck up, Judge. You were an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. Oh, but it was dark in the room. Okay. So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. Well, that helps my case. Lana, you do that for me? Seems you two might make up yet. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. This is rather shocking. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? You really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall. You wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation? I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. Fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office. The detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. I never miss anything. I got every last piece. Oh, that's okay. Wipe them clean. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene. Yes, I don't have any excuses for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana. I didn't know. I treated you so badly all this time. After we've gotten to the bottom of this incident, no doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecution's office. More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. Okay, so I gotta find a contradiction. So my first thought, the piece of cloth that wiped, it has Emma Sky's prints. Not Lana's. And the other thing is that the final piece was found in Chief Gant's safe. So, yeah. Okay. I wiped away. I think I'll present this. Okay, well apparently that's not it. Penalized. Ugh. Okay, well we'll save here just to be safe. And now we'll... I'm sure I got them all. Well, maybe the one in Gant's office?
Objection!
Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it, she really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. To set her up. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
Objection!
I'm afraid that's unlikely. Pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. Okay. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. I even wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha! Can you believe that? With you? Yes, I can. Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant at the time he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? Nah. No. Okay, what does that come to? Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. It's actually concealing. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the chief's puppet. But she bit her thumb so hard. No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem like the type to who likes to twist the truth. Sure, Judge. Shut the fuck up. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana, maybe Wright after all. What do you mean, Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright. Miss Skye, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Skye, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will if you tell the truth. True. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Fucking finally. Jeez. Made us go through all that shit. Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gate help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the sword's armor? You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. The camera. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Except for we didn't see it. Please present us this picture. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Yeah, it's fucking, she gave us this. I thought so. Did she give us this picture? No, it must be this. Evidence law? There it is. Hey, there's a picture here. Blood from the mouth? Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detectives saw the crime scene like this, because I contacted criminal affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Oh, Mr. Wright, that piece cut out from his vest, could that be the cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe? What's this? This has a handprint, isn't it? That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever's fingerprints those are must be the real murderer. What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on the suit of armor. Chief Gant's back. Come on now, Hudgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant. What? Now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense.
Objection!
I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Damn, Edgeworth. That's fucking edgy as shit. Oof. So what? You think I'm worried? Yes, sir. Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some sort of conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? What do I say? What do I say? What do I say? What do I say? If you have any more evidence presented now, and if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. It is true, defense are not allowed to withhold evidence from the court. They have a duty to report. Yes, Your Honor, I do have further evidence. All right. Those prints have got to be the chief's. Let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that showed the actual... I guess we just show this. Do we lose then, though? It's a piece of leather cloth. Yes, it most likely was cut from the victim's vest. What's this? There's a big handprint on it. Surely it must have been left by the cloth, on the cloth, by whoever shoved the victim into the sword. What? Whose fingerprints are on this? I'm sure Wright has checked. Haven't you? Well, whose are they? They're Emma Sky's. What? They're mine, so I really did do it? See, I told you it was conclusive. But this was found in your safe. That means it's possible you forged it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember any cloth in my safe. Do you really expect me to believe that? But give it up, Mr. Wright. It's over. You shouldn't have presented that. By presenting that evidence, you tied Emma Sky to Neil Marshall's death. No. I had to. It appears we have our killer. No. No. Everything hinged on that. In the end, Lana alone was found guilty on all counts. A what? A what? That's just an instant lose? Instant loss? Oh. I guess we gotta fly through this again.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. Just an instant loss. Up, 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 up.
Objection! Objection! Objection!
Guess I gotta choose the other option. Now the final. Hey, my favorite part of Phoenix Wright. Getting back to where I was when I lost. Okay. Oh. Picture. Evidence law. Woo. Oh my. Okay, we're almost there. Here comes. Wait. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, didn't he show up at this point? Okay. Okay. Alright, let's save here. And let's give it a shot. Why have you been keeping quiet about it? I thought it was the right plan to show it. Then we'd wiggle our way out somehow. Cannot show evidence. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie. Chief Gant? You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. Conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. But now he's admitted it was in the safe. I get it, so now it'll be fine to show it. Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this? In your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. The biggest scandal. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, righto. Well, can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. Then it occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her? I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask for my aid. So when you assisted Miss Sky, I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I had 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make the police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all those pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to tell you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Oh, some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Rado, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do all that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Rado. Should have shown it then before it was too late.
Little does he know we actually lost showing the evidence, so that was obviously the wrong choice. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess it up here, victory is mine. Show evidence. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. The cloth.
Take that!
Has to be... Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of it. Cut out this piece of the victim's vest.
Oh yes. At last you finally brought it out into the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather, there must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
Ho ho ho. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Rado had all his time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be?
You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprint belonged to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Well, here's the thing. Let's say she pushed him. That doesn't mean she killed him, it just means she pushed him. Right? Like, it's not fucking... just because it pushed onto the thing. It's Emma. Let's be honest, lawyers.
What?
They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Because... I don't know.
Oh, you're really something, Rado. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me.
So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. Nope, just shoved, not to his death.
How could you? You monster!
Miss Guy, you knew those fingerprints, whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Guy, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet.
But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you gonna tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer?
Damn, before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up.
Oh, and what's that?
Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. A piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? Oh, as dumb as always, Judge, as dumb as always. I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction.
What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling on about?
I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold the piece of evidence that contradicted this cloth. I mean, it must be the picture. Let me check why. Blood on the shirt. blood on the shirt. He coughed it up.
Take that!
What exactly is this supposed to be?
This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes. His shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood that's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. No blood. Wait, there's no blood on it. Ah! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time.
No, this is nonsense.
Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. Oh, really, Edgeworth? If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago. That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you prove that you were the actual murderer. No! No! It's finally over. I can rest now.
Oh, that was close, Fredo. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations.
So him saying, you almost had me, means that what? He was just ready to admit to something that he didn't do? And then he's like, oh wait, I have this loophole. I didn't do it. Yeah, sure. What do you mean by you refute his allegations?
You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence.
Maybe. Order. What nonsense is this?
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Reggie? Earlier, old Rado here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Rado? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you?
Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. At this point in time, before he mentioned that it was in the safe. Key words, at this point in time. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair.
Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son.
Okay, sure. Take a seat, buddy. Take a seat. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, true. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? The time to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it, that you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I did not. I admit, I refused to present it at one point.
Aha! So the evidence is illegal.
Objection!
Objection! No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you...
Oh, that's the judge. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence.
No, Reggie, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe.
Shut the fuck up. There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. How about the law of evidence, Mr. Judge? This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law.
What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written right here in this book. Second rule of evidence law. Rule number 1, evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. No evidence. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have the approval from the police department. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident.
What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Objection! Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago.
No.
He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest?
Oh yes.
There's the connection.
No.
It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before the prosecutor marshal in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you. Has he accepted his fate? What the fuck is happening? This guy's gonna explode here, I think.
I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department, trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me.
Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty.
He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman.
Detective Goodman?
Yeah, that's right.
If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. That's my favorite accent.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the
Can you please open the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered.
He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said,
"It's not too late. I'm gonna hand all this over to Marshall."
Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. And stabbed him. I couldn't just pull it out.
Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime.
Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake.
The bloody handprints on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business in doing any of it.
Then you put the body in my car?
I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will.
Leaving the prosecution's car aside. How could you get Miss Sky involved in all this?
Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker.
I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take.
So, you left the jar fragments and the glove.
Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer.
True, because you got caught.
They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay.
Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. Yeah, okay, Edgeworth. You must have known that.
Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court?
Me?
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone.
Alright. Yeah, sure, man.
Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Edgy.
What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
We ain't friends. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Edgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Ratto here. And Worthy. With these two around, can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sound of something.
I didn't read it. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky, I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. Pah, I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you might just make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky? And to you, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. Huh, it was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it, I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky. Yes, Your Honor? You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Nice. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty. After a few guilty pleas, after a few times the judge determined her guilty because of me, we got there. That is all. This court is adjourned. Nice. At long last, it's finally over. Emma! Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get off completely. But at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended. I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. Yeah, we saw this. Okay. Yeah. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Okay. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Okay. Always are. You always are, Gumshoe. See ya. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around all while on duty. And to top it all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Alright, funny joke. Are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell you if I won't. I won't tell if I won't. You get it. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gan to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course, you know, sis. I always knew that. One day you'd come back. And now you have. Okay. Oh, Emma. Aw, look at that. A big hug. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on to a brighter future. Look at that. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Nice. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, me? Thank you both for all that you've done. Gumshoe did nothing in that fucking thing. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth! Stop hiding and come over here. Don't look so angry. I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Peace. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth? Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me were the same. Okay, I get it. Despise criminals, yeah. I do despise criminals. I planned to dedicate my life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright, which is ridiculous. They're on opposing sides, and an adversarial system doesn't work. If both sides of the fucking thing are working together, then it's a collaborative system. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Yeah. Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lon is talking about. Evidence. Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. I don't fucking know. Let's just start from the beginning. That might mean something to you, but I don't see it has anything to do with our partnership. Mr. Wright, it seems you still have a lot to learn as well. I guess that wasn't the right piece of evidence. It's time for me to go. If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. What, is he just leaving? And then what? Oh. Edgeworth, what will you do now? What was the point of that fucking thing then? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know, it seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I'd better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. Nice. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Nice. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright, here's the one who will be footing the bill. Wait, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys, let's go.
Objection!
Well, that's fucking awesome. There you go, Phoenix Wright. Okay. Ooh, top corner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back into the field somehow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Nice. Well, there you go. There's Phoenix Wright. Number 1. All completed and finished. Appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. I know it's gonna go through all of the characters, but I don't want to watch it all. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'll be streaming tomorrow, streaming Hearthstone in the afternoon, so tune in for that. We'll see how long I go tomorrow. I got some stuff to do, but I still gotta make Legends, so yeah, that's gotta happen. Okay, see you next time.